As of right now, we only have 776 subscribers. We're not monetized, we don't have any brand deals, and we don't have any sponsors.
But we're sinking hours every week into planning, scripting, shooting, and editing YouTube videos. We're working out hooks, writing titles, and designing thumbnails.
And you'd think all of this work for no immediate return would be a bit crazy. So how is YouTube changing our lives? So if this is the first video of ours you've clicked on, we're Trent and Jessie.
We're wedding photographers based in Brisbane, Australia, and we've been photographing weddings for the past 10 years.
And more recently, we've been diving into the photography education space. We wanted to make this video to share how YouTube is changing our lives.
We've been thinking a lot about this over the last few weeks, and there's kind of 4 key areas that we feel like YouTube is really impacting our life. And the first area is in personal growth.
So on a personal level, YouTube is changing our lives with personal growth and just giving us more confidence in ourselves, confidence in turning up in front of a camera. It's very hard to kind of do this, and we're just feeling like it's just really giving us confidence to try new things. We've been inconsistently posting videos for about a year now, and it's pretty wild to see how far we've come even in those kind of 12 or so months. Looking back on some kind of older videos where it's very terrifying watching ourselves back, but it's pretty cool to see how far we've come in the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's not something that I expected personally to be gaining confidence by talking to a camera, but it really is having these like ripples into our everyday life, I think, because we are forcing ourselves to do this, and as uncomfortable as it is, we're pushing through that discomfort and doing it anyway. And I think that is, giving us more confidence to speak to the camera because we can see progress, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But also just confidence in ourselves in just daily life. Like, I feel like I can really see it in Trent. And hopefully he can see it in me too.
Yeah. I think the way Jessie turns up, as this gentle, kind person on camera, and just putting her thoughts out there is really inspiring to me. So another thing we're learning is learning to like ourselves more. As we've mentioned, it's hard to turn up and put yourself on camera. As wedding photographers for the last 10 years or so, we're so comfortable behind the camera, but turning it on ourselves and putting out these videos each week, we've just come to learn to like ourselves a little bit more and not feel as cringe seeing ourselves on camera.
I definitely feel like when we were first kind of editing videos together, particularly hearing like your voice and seeing yourself back on camera, it was really hard to watch and to hear. But that's really like pretty much disappeared. Like, we might still laugh at ourselves a little bit, but for the most part, we're just really proud, I think. And not in like a prideful way, but just like we put ourselves out there, and that's not easy. So it's nice to be at a point where we can just sort of like know that it's not perfect and polished, and we're definitely not getting things in the first take. Just learning to like ourselves, it just feels like a really big step, and nice not to be like cringing every time we're editing a video. So I feel like that's a huge one. Yeah,
for sure.
And I think something that also comes from that is that we've just sort of been able to become more playful with what we're creating. We're kind of, as we're not cringing as much at ourselves, we're also not caring as much about what other people think, because YouTube is something we want to do. And even though that feels a little bit scary to say, oh yeah, we want to be YouTubers, and a lot of people I think that's not a legit career or anything, and not that we're even hoping for it to be our main thing, but I guess for us it feels like a big thing just not to care so much about what other people might think when we say that or when we put these videos out. That's been a cool thing, just to feel like, oh, it actually doesn't matter what other people think of us. If this is something we want to do and it's lighting us up and we're getting excited about it, then that is more important than, what somebody else may or may not think. It's also just really freeing, definitely growing.
So throughout this YouTube process, we're just trying to remind ourselves to run our own race. Just trusting the process of continually putting out videos each week and coming up with ideas and writing scripts and just trying to focus on our own journey. And we're still, taking inspiration from others, but we're just really leaning into what makes us kind of unique and what makes us us. And that's just a really cool process. And
something that has been like that I have seen through doing this, like showing up in videos for YouTube, is that we do see the impact on other areas in our life, like particularly how we're showing up in our wedding photography business, how we're interacting with people in just daily life and even with each other, I think. Yeah, so you really see the impact, which is crazy. You'd think it sounds silly to be like, YouTube is changing our life. It really is having this impact on us. And that's definitely not something I expected, but has been, it just feels like we're evolving and growing and it's really cool. Like, it's uncomfortable, but it's exciting. So that leads nicely into the next category, which is developing new skills. So you'd think as wedding photographers and even running our own business for the last 10 years, we would have already developed some of these skills. And maybe we have to a degree, but I think YouTube has kicked it into another gear.
For sure. And
we're really learning a lot about copywriting and like script writing. We're thinking about hooks and like thumbnails and just, how to grab someone's attention and, that's, marketing. Like, we're just really learning all these things that maybe we had, kind of had in our mind throughout running our wedding photography business, but it feels like YouTube is just making it all really clear what you actually have to do for somebody to click on your video and then how do you get somebody to watch your video. And that is, all these sort of skills and things that we're learning are really transferable. And I can see them, being of such benefit as we step into being educators in the wedding photography space. Like, that's been super useful, like launching our new posing course and having our first online course. And even just in our wedding photography business, like wanting to attract new clients, we have all these new ways of thinking about marketing. And it's really beneficial actually to be developing these skills, which we, I guess, are uncovering because we're starting a YouTube channel, are also really helpful for the other things that we're doing, which include, our photography education and our photography business.
I feel like we're also becoming a lot more analytical. We're really analysing not just what other people are doing, we're analysing how they're kind of putting videos together and how they're creating hooks and how they, edit their videos together. But just like learning and seeing what other people are doing, but then analyze, well, how can we do this in our own way, in our own voice?
I think having to learn all these things for YouTube videos, it's really been the perfect, I guess, like training ground for us to really be kind of constantly working on these skills. It's almost like we've flicked a switch, or there's this new, I guess, knowledge base that we didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what we didn't know. And now it's like, oh, okay, we can we're suddenly interested in copywriting, or we're trying to understand landing pages or just the power of a good title, things like that. And it's almost like, oh, we didn't know that we needed to learn these things, but now that we know, it's like opened up this whole nother world, I guess, of ways that we can improve what we're doing and have an impact on our business.
Yeah, and I think with that, we're really trying to embrace that kind of 1% better every time kind of mindset of like, what can we do each and every time? How can we make it like that 1% better? Also, when it comes to editing videos, like what's the 1%, like the tiny little thing that we can make this video even better this week? And whether that's, trying out some, little animations or text, it's just having that mindset of like, well, each time I'm going to do something, and it could be super tiny, but it's just having that mindset of every time I'm doing something, that we're doing something, we want to make it that little bit better every time.
Yeah, I've loved seeing Trent sort of just level up the editing. Like, Trent's our primary editor, and I feel like every time he shows me a rough cut of something, he's like learned a new skill or tried a new sort of animation or something just to change things up. And he's like managed to research how to do it or bought the tools that we need or something, and then he's just done it, and it's like, oh wow, like something that a week ago we didn't even know about, and now you're like implementing it, and it's like, yeah, just making our videos that 1% better. I don't know, I guess it's another like progress bar, feeling like, oh yeah, we're learning, we're growing, it's 1% better.
Yeah. So I think overall it's just been really cool, and such a cool process to go through to develop these new skills and to open up this new knowledge base, as Jessie has said, and almost level up in a way,
Yeah,
you know,
unlock
like
a new level.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just been a fun process to work through.
So we've already touched on this a little bit, but showing up is hard. But something that YouTube is really teaching us is to embrace these challenges, and not in the like discomfort that comes with talking to a camera and then producing a video, but also just, you know, that when things are hard, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do them.
And even when it's hard, like doing it anyways.
Yeah, it's feeling the fear and the discomfort and doing it anyway, and I think that is, yeah, such a good challenge to embrace. So with YouTube, it's just this continually pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone, and like in some ways it gets easier, but also it's still hard every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, just continually pushing ourselves outside that comfort zone to see what happens.
And just being okay to fail is like another thing that we're learning. When we're trying new things without an expectation of any kind of return, it's just a cool way that we can play and experiment and try new things, you know, being okay to fail. And
we're okay with it, or we're becoming more okay with it because we're not taking it so much as like a personal failure, but more just like a test and an experiment, and what can we learn, and we're just going to try this and see what happens, and having more of that freedom, I guess, in being okay to try things even if they don't work out, see what works. And I think that is just becoming more okay with that has been a great lesson.
So taking things less personally, and, you know, the kind of failures is not a reflection of us personally. We're just seeing it more as an opportunity to learn from a business perspective. So many new learnings happening at the moment, and trying new things and just not being afraid to fail.
Yeah, I think it's an important mindset shift.
As we mentioned at the start, it may seem like doing all this work, editing videos, recording videos, scripting videos each and every week is a bit crazy because there's no, you know, immediate return. But one thing we're learning is just patience and playing the long game. So, you know, it's a lot of work putting videos out each week, but we're just playing the long game, and we know that down the line, as long as we're consistent with putting out videos and showing up, you know, things will happen. And
I think we don't even really know what.
Yeah.
But just trusting that something will happen, some good will come from this. And I mean, even just all the personal growth is obviously some good already.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And I guess why we wanted to make this video as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just trusting that if we just keep doing this, keep being patient, something will happen, something good will come.
Just giving more time to create quality, you know, so just having patience that, you know, we're not rushing through the editing process, or, you know, we're just like not just trying to get out a video just for the sake of getting out a video. Like we're taking the time to kind of enjoy the process, but also just to kind of create a quality, you know, video each week. And, you know, like it doesn't always have to be perfect. And, you know, this video especially, we're just kind of just chatting and rambling to a camera, but having that patience and giving the time to work through the process.
Just on that, like, we wanted to make this video to encourage anyone else who is thinking about, you know, sinking a good amount of time into making YouTube videos, like even just at, you know, we're not monetized, we don't have that many subscribers, but there are so many personal benefits just from a growth perspective, and, you know, we don't know the ripple effects of this later on. And I'm just really glad that we started and we are still going. And I'm not ready to give up yet.
No. But it's also cool, just, you know, we're already seeing people comment on the videos. And
that's really encouraging.
It's such an encouragement to us personally. It just kind of pushes us on, and just such an encouragement to us to keep following this journey. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of our journey so far with YouTube. Definitely a lot of work, but so many upsides and new learnings and new skills developed. So thanks for watching if you got to the end.
Yeah, we're excited to watch this video in another year.
Yeah,
See where we're at.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe we can do a follow-up video.
Yeah. If this is the first video of ours that you found, we've put together a playlist for you, particularly if you're a wedding photographer, that you might find really helpful.